We're going to start back to our agenda with old business. I'll ask for a motion to approve the meeting minutes from last year, for those of us who remember that meeting acutely. I will take a motion to approve. Teresa moves, a second. Kim? And all in favor? Opposed? Okay, the second piece of old business is to approve the minutes of our special meeting, January 31st, 2011. Do I have a motion? Ned moves, and Lisa seconds. All in favor? And opposed? Great. We have approved our minute, completed all of our old business for the moment. The new business, I'm going to talk a little bit about it's a president's report. Linda will do some things about our business for our officers and executive committee next year, and then we'll talk briefly about our plan of service. All of which I think will take not very long, and we're going to have what I think will be a really interesting chance to talk with Jerry Newfarmer and Mike Oliver about their perspective on libraries, on what's going on in local government right now, and give us some advice. So I wanted to take this opportunity a little bit to look back. You know, I've had 2 years as PLP president. So sometimes they kind of meld together, the 2 years. But this year, I would say, as is probably true for all of us about all of our work, hasn't quite gone as we might have thought it was going to go when we stood here last May 14th. But nonetheless, I think it serves us well to have a strategic plan. And one of the things that we accomplished that was kind of the thing the executive committee felt was really essential and that we had committed to all of you when we started PLP 2 years ago was that by this time we would have adopted a new participation fee schedule, and we did that with all of your support back in January. And then the online monthly newsletter, which I think is working out very well as a way to keep ourselves and our staffs aware of what's going on with PLP. If any of you feel like not all of your staff who want it are getting it, they can just email the PLP office and we'll get added as an individual name to get that newsletter. The other activity that I believe is in our strategic plan but has taken a lot more time and effort than we expected this year is advocacy, particularly around the state budget. And Linda Crow and Rosario Garza from Southern California have really become central to CLA's advocacy efforts regarding state funding for libraries. And as we know, it's far from over. And come Monday morning, or sometime on Monday, we will see what the May revise, and we'll start the next phase. But I believe that, you know, the advocacy has obviously been pretty effective to date. And truly the leadership that Linda has shown has been really important. And one of the things the executive committee had talked about when we were doing the strategic plan was a need for us to ensure that the CLA Legislative Committee and advocacy efforts always have strong representation from the Bay Area. Recognizing that those appointments are made by the president of CLA, nonetheless, we certainly have an opportunity to, you know, put our hands up for the executive committee to talk about people who might be great to serve, get those people to agree to volunteer, and make sure that that happens. And I think we saw this year with the importance of San Francisco and other legislators in Sacramento that it really is important for us to continue to step up and really keep our eyes on that. In the past, I think we haven't done it collectively. We haven't thought of ourselves in that way. And I believe this is really a big step forward for us. Linda's going to talk about some of the grant-funded activities when she gives her report that we are doing that I think are going to be helpful to all of us. And then we are having a breakfast next Saturday. I hope it's on all your calendars at 9 a.m., at which we're going to talk about advocacy and have a presentation from Deborah Doyle. And it was very well timed, given the both the May Revise and Wednesday's CLA Legislation Day, that we should really get a lot out of that meeting. And Joseph Midian will be there to give Melinda an award as his Woman of the Year for his district. So I'm hoping to see a lot of you there in another week or so. Well, I'm almost at the end of my term as the president, and I really appreciated the opportunity to serve for 2 years, especially during this kind of startup time. It's a lot of fun. As we've transitioned from 4 systems to really becoming one, it's really exciting and fun to work, for me, who's been around for so long, to work with some new people in this collaborative. I especially want to thank the members of the executive committee. I think we've really had, it's a great committee, and believe it or not, we can almost have fun having these meetings. So I want to thank Lisa Rosenblum, Susan Homer, Susan Gallinger, Julie Farnsworth, Teresa Landers, and Eleanor Eulinger for their service during this last 2 years. And Linda Crow and the PLP staff, of course, have continued their outstanding management and support of our new cooperative. I think we're living in, and as library professionals, managing in a time of tremendous change and challenge. In a few minutes, we'll get to be talking with Mike and Jerry about that, but I want to briefly share my own perspective. We're in a time of just rapid and fundamental change in local government, in the relationship between people and their government, and in technology, in our economy and the world economy, and obviously the effects on the libraries that we and our services that we offer are and will be enormous. What comes next will be very difficult and very different from what we've known in the past. Our local funding is declining, our state funding is in doubt. We're seeing already consolidations within, with other departments and units of city, and we have a number of examples of that here today with Sunnyvale, Daly City, Monterey, San Bruno. And we may well see regionalization of formerly local services, as certainly we're hearing people talking about 911 dispatch, about some across jurisdictions, combinations of fire and police, and libraries could certainly be candidates for that kind of consolidation. In other parts of the state, outsourcing of direct library services is being considered, sometimes rejected, sometimes adopted. And some of our long-term agreements and assumptions are changing, such as Santa Clara County Library's recent decision to withdraw from PLP. I've been a library director, I counted it up, I do it by the age of my older child, 27 years. And it's a whole, almost a generation. My daughter actually has a wrinkle. It's very upsetting. For her mother, sure, you know. It's very upsetting for me. So I chose not to mention to her that she has a wrinkle. Because I realized it wasn't really about me. But I do know that we as library managers are better, we're smarter, we're stronger when we use our cooperative system and our skills and values of resource sharing to manage through this long and difficult period. And I know the people we serve are better served because of our regional efforts. I really enjoyed serving as president for the 2 years, and I thank you for the opportunity. So Linda is going to make her report, and then we'll do our officer and executive board.
Don't go away.
I'm not going anywhere.
I know. Some of you know that I have been following Jane much of my career since I followed her into the job of director of Peninsula Library System. And Jane and I have worked together for a long
years ago.
Oh my gosh. It's time to retire. But she has really shown great leadership in the formation of PLP, in everything she does, but specifically as the first president, not only before PLP was PLP, but to bring it to fruition. And so, Jane, you are going to be the first PLP star.